Hey, good morning everyone. Sunday morning, April 23rd, right around 8:30. Let us get started with our weekly video. What you're looking at is a chart of QQQ. Just want to look at a high-level monthly view as well. Now, we still have almost a week left before the month of April ends, but just, kind of give you a sort of a mid-month look and feel. So the month of March, big bullish bar, and the month of April almost like more than half of it gone now. We just really did not retrace down that much at all, not even into the midpoint of that range, right? Well, earnings are here. Who knows what happens in the but this is a up channel right now, and if it moves down, then this could be a good pullback. That's how I would like to consider it for now, because the higher time frame trend is up, right? So if it breaks above 321.8, which is sort of the March high as well, I think the structure high comes around 335. So something to keep in mind on a weekly level. It does look like it's just kind of sideways to consolidation right now. No bearish sort of a bar sees any downside follow through, if you want to call it a bearish, right? I mean, yes, it's a red bar right here, so is this, but it's not like this one, right? It doesn't look like this with a big body, bearish body. So it meant that wherever this week opened, we kind of closed close to that one, right? This is a bullish week in itself, so no follow through. This one we closed slightly on the weaker note, right? But still above 312.8, which is sort of the recent structure. So a swing low, you can say, right? So this is the resistance. This is a so it's almost like a 10-point range, 10 to 9-point range that QQQ has been trading since the past few weeks now. So sideways action, consolidation, not breaking down, so on and so forth, right? So if we do see a little bit of breakdown, I think this was the breakout bar, right, in a weekly time frame. So I always like to consider the bar on the left side of the breakout bar, the high of that bar, sort of the point where the price can retrace to. So this is sort of the level that I can consider, kind of buying into if this kind of move comes into play, right? Let's take a look at the daily view as well. A whole lot of nothing, and a lot of intraday range, I would say. Yeah, so if you look at it, right, we were moved up from this resistance, couldn't break this one. We tried twice almost to get above that, right? We got rejected every time. Okay, that's fine, but we're not really seeing any downside follow through as well. So the first time we did, we made it all the way back till 312.8. This time around, we have not made it all the way till 312.8. We're just still kind of holding. Friday was a sort of a hammer looking bar. Let's see if we kind of see some upside follow through now on Monday or Tuesday. Earnings are going to be a big factor to decide which way the overall market breaks, right? If I were to give a benefit of the doubt, since the higher time frame is still up, I would say this is still a pullback, unless or until, of course, you break down below this level, and then we can see, okay, here's some gap, here's this, the structure low, and then there's uptrend line. So this can be a play that we can kind of look into, right? But if I zoom out, you can see here's the nice looking sort of a channel that we have been sort of moving in now, and we'll see now if it wants to break higher or if it wants to go touch this uptrend line once again. Okay, let's take a look at SPY. Not sort of the same looking, but getting tight, of course, right? This is a monthly view, right? So again, no monthly red bar seeing any downside follow through, right? This one, every time you see one, buyers step in and push it up. So now we're reaching to a point where there's this sort of getting tight and triangle pattern. So we'll see which way again it wants to break. If it wants to come down, kind of monthly bar goes from green to red. So where it opened around 408.9, something like that. So here's a weekly view. We did see a little bit of pullback along with, you know, a doji looking bar here towards the trend line. So probably expected, because, you know, we've had a really nice run. Oops, we had a really nice run. Higher lows, higher highs, right, all the way since the past few weeks. Even this week was a higher high and a higher low. If, from that perspective, right, we did see a close right where the previous week closed. So we'll see if it wants to make another run into this 417.6 and then try to break it higher, or if it wants to go touch this sort of a double bottom area right here, 405.7. So we'll see how it goes. Okay, and if you just look at it quickly, sort of that thing, this was the breakout bar, right, that broke above this resistance. And then what happened? If you look at towards the left of this was the high, so we did kind of touch those levels and then we bounced. So there's something about that bar on the left of the breakout bar that prices want to go and touch. Tesla weekly view, here's the down channel, right, getting below 191.6 and then staying below that was sort of an indication that the price structure is weak, right? And we closed below 176. We have not done that in a while, so after like 4 or 5 weeks we closed below that level, and this is your sort of a down channel. This is where we can, you know, kind of see a little bit of bounce if the market goes towards 158. I think this is a little bit more clear on the daily view. So here is the daily view right now. So this was the channel, right, in the daily that we were sort of looking to play out, and 191.6 kept on providing resistance, right? A lot of inside bar action right here, and then we eventually broke down, earnings gap down, couldn't really bounce back up. So if we do bounce back, 176 becomes your upside target at least, and then see we pull back down. If it keeps on getting weak, then below 160 we have this channel bottom, right, maybe around 155, 154, or the low of this bar right here, which is around 154 or 155 level, kind of nicely coincides with this channel bottom as well. So we can see some tradable setup right there. If it wants to keep going down, then I think the gap fill move is not until like 146 to 145 level, right, before we really see some meaningful bounce in this name. So just different scenarios that can play out, different setups that you can look for in this name. I really like to trade that one. Apple monthly view. So we're kind of getting some resistance in this name based on the trend line, right? So there is this purple trend line you see, right? It's providing some resistance right here, but nothing too concerning from the bullish side, right? Still in the monthly view, higher high, higher lows, right? Little pause, not kind of expected based on the trend line. And if it wants to go down, so this was the breakout bar, right? This was the breakout bar right here. The high on the left side of that bar is right here, so we can definitely move down here before we kind of pull back up. We'll see how it goes. But here's the weekly chart. Really super run we've had in this one, right? So no complaints, I'd say. So even if we see a little bit of pullback down, that's an opportunity to probably grab some cheaper shares, right? So this is the structure high. We've moved nicely above that. So if we see a pullback, start coming back down, 156 is your level to see if it wants to kind of go and target that name. But right now, everything kind of seems bullish, nothing really concerning. In the daily view, yes, we had a couple of tries above 166.9. Couldn't really close above that, right? This was the previous week's high, so we can adjust this one now to this last week's high. Let's call it 168.2. Okay, so now what happened is we broke below this 3-day balance right here, right, and closed below that. So that puts a little bit of downside pressure on the this name in short term, right? What's below that? This was the sort of the channel. This was what we break above. So this becomes your sort of two levels on the downside, 164 to maybe 162. You can kind of target it. Still sort of keep the same bullish structure on a higher time frame, but short-term pullback, right? So keep that in mind. Amazon, what a nice name it has been to play. Once it got above 95.7 few weeks ago, it kind of really nicely held above that level in the daily view. So just try a quick check on the weekly structure. Here is the weekly downtrend line. So we kind of nicely pause right there. We have earnings on probably Wednesday or something like that after market close. So we'll see what happens. Implied volatility will be high this week for this name. So just be careful in getting into this name. Here is the look and feel in the daily view, right? We broke out above this one, came back down, made a higher low, broke above this one again. Here is our support structure at 101.3, and then eventually we kind of moved towards 104. That was the level we kept on targeting in our discard, and once we got above that, you know, a nice move on Friday. Decent close. Might see still a pullback back into 104 before earnings. That could be maybe a good point to kind of load up a little bit and see if it on the earnings day we push up a little bit in anticipation of a good earnings, and then you know you can always trim earlier and then hold some into earnings and see how it goes. Okay. All right. Microsoft. I think it kind of looks a little tired now. I mean, yes, it's holding the structure. Like this above 281.6, right? So we saw a nice move above this one. This was a breakout bar. So really 3-week balance here about 281.6, right? You can see it's been holding that level for some time. Nothing overly, you know, concerning in terms of bearish structure, right? Yes, it's getting some hard time getting back above 293, but earnings can make that or break that, right? If it moves down, this is where the next support is 269, right? That's where we saw this price bounce from. But above 293, we really don't have much of the resistance in terms of the weekly time frame until 316, right? That's where we have these touch points. You can see that once the price broke down below this one, we tried to attempt a rally above 316, couldn't do it. Tried again, couldn't do it. So this is your sort of level to target on the upside if it breaks out above this one. Okay. Okay, let's take a look at Nvidia. Really strong name since the past few weeks, but now I am a little not overly bearish on this name, but I think it's time for it to take a little breather. You know, after the AI sort of run we have seen, so good maybe a month of consolidation in this range above 260 to 280, right? 20-point range. You know, it could be sort of a flaggish as well, but you know, just the reason that we have this top wicks, right? And the closure is towards the low end of its recent 4-week range. That tells me that, you know, it has a little bit of downside pressure rather than the upside pressure. Okay, so I am in the bearish call spread. My sell strike is 295 and buy strike is 300. So we'll see how that one goes. So far it looks good. It will expire end of April. So here's a daily view, right? Not a whole lot, but just probably a zigzag kind of a price structure. Nothing really happening. Sure, you can play setups like gap fill moves, support bounces, things like that, but it's not really going anywhere in terms of the direction, right? It's just holding its upside, but really not, you know, breaking out either. So that's why the vertical bearish call spread, right? That gives me time as well, and I really don't have to be super exact in terms of my entry, my direction. As long as it stays under pressure, that's all I want. Okay, Meta. I keep clicking on share. Monthly view, so it kind of looks a little tired, right? I mean, it has had a good run, and this is the sort of the monthly, it's getting close to its monthly resistance line, right? We have few months of resistance here, so it, you know, some top wick action, still have a week left, but if it keeps on moving down and goes from green to red, right, since this was the breakout bar, what's the high on the left side of the breakout bar? This one right here, right here. So this becomes your target 197.6 on the downside if we go from green to red, or if it becomes a little bit more weak, right? Here's the weekly structure. Okay, higher lows, right, which got broken, that series of higher lows and higher highs right here, right? Nice one. And this was our first lower high and lower low, right? So nothing too concerning, but just something to keep in mind that if it breaks below 210, I think again in the higher time frame and earnings coming up, who knows what happens. But this is your structure or chart based target on the downside. On the upside, really need to take out 224. If we do that, then I think structure high is 238.7 from April of last year, right? That's where we kind of saw the breakdown from, right here and right here. So that becomes your upside target. Okay, let's take a look at Google weekly view. Yeah, so a few weeks, nice green weeks, but again looks a little tired, sideways. We can have a little bit of like this channel sort of where we moved in this one, and now we're gonna get some tired. And now if it breaks down this 1 or 2 level, definitely 100 becomes your psychological target. But then we can definitely move towards the lower end of this one. If we hold this level, right, with 1 or 2, even further pullback and get above 106.6, then you can target even higher prices around 112, 116. It can be in play, right? That's where we saw the breakdowns from, so they become your natural upside targets if you want to keep on moving up. On a daily view, I don't know, it's just hard to read this name on a daily view candle by candle. All I can make out of this thing is just higher swing lows in daily, right? Once we saw a breakout above this one, higher swing lows. So really need to get above 106.6 to kind of keep that thing going right here, right? Below this, it breaks down. 1 or 2 is your initial, and then the structure low around 100 is the downside target. Netflix, after earnings got sold off, but still holding, I would say, right? Nothing on a weekly view. You can see we don't really have an overly aggressive bearish bar even after earnings. So it looks like it did get kind of some bounce here from the earnings sell-off. Would have really liked it to close above 330. So, but it couldn't do that. It's okay. So we can adjust this line for the weekly support to 315 to 316, right? And in the daily view, here is how the structure looks. So just kind of taking a step back to see what has been going on once we broke below this sort of bullish structure, bullish channel. We saw a move down, kind of move back up, back tested this one, whole lot of sideways to slightly down moves, earnings gap down, tried to fill that gap, which kind of did, and then we saw a little bit of retrace back down. So now I think if we go into something like where's the trend line? So this is your sort of the down trend line, right? So it can kind of keep on crawling towards that if it moves up, right? Since it got bought and really did not see a downside follow through after the move earnings sell-off, right? So we'll see. 316 is your sort of level for the bulls to hold above that for this name to play out, right? Okay, let's take a look at BA. Here's BA monthly view, sideways action, right? A whole lot of sideways action. It broke out above this down trend line and it moved nicely up, but it has been consolidating. You can, I think earnings already passed, so, or maybe not, we'll see. Yep, the earnings are coming up on 24th, which is tomorrow. So we'll see, but this looks, again, earnings in a binary event, but just if it was on a chart base, I would say it's more bullish than weak, right? Since we broke out above this level, we retested that 192 level. I think we did mention that in the Discord as well. But now it's just not seeing any downside follow through, right, to any red bar. Yes, you can say the same thing about the bullish bars as well, but since the higher time frame direction is up, you just kind of have to give that benefit of the doubt to bulls, right? So now if it breaks out, this 234, 235 looks doable because that's where the majority of the resistance was in the past, and that becomes your upside target. If we break down below 192, right, who knows what the earnings does, but from chart perspective, the support is 179 and 161, sort of the major support levels that you can target on the downside. Okay, let's take a look at two names that we got or trying to get into for the DRI. Is one I think I did not get in this one. I couldn't try. I was waiting for like a move below 149 to like 146 to kind of start adding this name. I think I just missed it. Well, you never know. We can still get that move right here for a swing entry, right? So we'll see how that one goes, but it looks nice, right? Because it's just making these higher lows on a larger time frame, so it looks nice. However, I did get in TPR just an initial sort of 1/3, 1/4 kind of a position, as it really did not give me that big of a nice dip, right? I did kind of get to where I really kind of just, you know, wet my toe here, but it moved up, so it's not still not a full position, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, but that's what it is for now. So hope you guys like this little weekly update. If you have any questions, comments, feedback, please do not feel hesitated and reach out. Thank you. Take care.